So that is where we are today. And yes, our mortgage expert is here. So we are going to get him on board. Hi, Faisal, sir. You are mute. Wonderful, sir. Awesome. I think so. We are hearing your voice today proper. Go ahead.
Good evening, all. Good evening
Yes.
to you. And,
Okay. He has just come on board. So, okay. Give me, why don't you speak for a moment and
Okay.
let me just check out the, I'll be back within a second, and you take it for 2 minutes until the time I check your audio is also coming out properly or not. Okay, give me 2 minutes.
Okay. So, good evening, audience. I see the itinerary for today. Manoj's real estate monologue. There's an article to review. I see first-time home buyers incentive, which is something good to review. So you can understand how you can qualify for it, because there is a list of things to qualify for. And lastly, it's rent to own homes. Is that a scam?
Faisal, sir, I'm back. Hello.
Yes.
And the audio was working perfectly for both of us. Okay,
Perfect.
So we are good to go. Now, Faisal, today I am going to take your brains on this one. You remember, we had got this particular topic which came out some times ago, first-time home buyer incentive.
Mm-hmm.
And I think so you did a few deals on that one. You remember?
Yes.
So have you done a few more?
No, not since COVID started. I haven't been able to do any. Actually, there's none that has come across my desk. But before COVID, yes, I did.
You did a few of them, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And how was your how many in general you did? I mean, like one or two or?
It was 2 deals. The third one was very close, but it did not. The client changed their mind.
Okay.
Because that was their personal issue.
Okay.
It was in condition of financing 5 days, and client changed their mind.
Okay.
But other than that, 2 deals completed.
2 deals were completed. Okay. Now I went through this particular because see, initially it was too fresh. So now I went back to that particular one and I said, like, can any of my prospects take an advantage of this particular one? Because, but to tell you frankly, I am, in simple terms, not happy with this one at all. What do you have to say about it?
And the way I can say is, first time home buyers incentive is not an easy one to qualify for.
Okay.
Number one, there's property restriction, there's income restriction, first time home buyers, of course, and so on. It's not for everyone, and when clients do qualify for it, most times they qualify without the incentive.
Okay. Yes, because I went through it in detail and I just literally found like this program was introduced to all of us sometimes back, but I couldn't even figure it out how to even share that with my prospects and clients. Because so now let's get into this particular program and I'll walk you through what I just could not relate to. Okay, so give me a few moments here. And let me see if I can get back to this particular one and explain you this particular whole thing completely. Give me a moment here, and I am going to go on this particular one, and so that I can go and explain them this particular program. Okay, I am on the right screen now. To our audience, this is a government program, Government of Canada National Housing Strategy, and you can go to the link, and this link is also in the descriptions as place to call home.ca /first FTHBI /first time home buyer incentive. So you can have a look at this particular on the computer, and that is where you can go and read more about it. So this is called a first time home buyer incentive, and let's read a few of them and then I'll walk you through. This first time home buyer incentive helps people across Canada purchase their first home. Okay, this program offers 5 or 10% of home purchase price to put towards a down payment. Now let me ask the expert here, Faisal. So this 5 or 10% that the government is giving it to you is that you have to have your own 5% first, then they're going to help you. You're mute somehow.
Yes, that is absolutely right.
So if you don't have 5%, then they are not giving you another 5%.
No, you have to have some. You have to qualify. The way I heard it is you have to have your own down payment, and they will help you with some to have to essentially qualify. For you to qualify, you have to have your own down payment. The question to your answer is yes.
Okay. I may be one step ahead, but after I go through this whole particular program, I found that it's of absolutely no use. And I'm going to show you, and I'm really struggling, and that is why I want your input. Like, okay, if I'm making a mistake somewhere, and if you can pick that out, that'll be great. Because at this particular moment of time, whether you give this money to the bank or you give it to the government, it is the same thing. And in fact, you may be even getting away with less money giving it to the bank as interest rather than giving it to the government. So this is where I was struggling that with this particular program completely. Okay. So the first line we have understood is that the 5 or 10% that they are giving it to you, that let's read that line again carefully, is that the program offers 5 or 10% of the home purchase price to put towards a down payment. Yes, they give you 5 or 10%, but once you have the 5%, so 5% is yours and then they give it to you. It is not that you do not have anything and they are giving it to you. So this addition to your down payment lowers your mortgage carrying cost. Okay. Now this is where I am struggling, because I could not find properly that does it actually lower the carrying cost. And it says making home ownership more affordable. So getting back to you, that is the line, that they are lowering your mortgage carrying cost.
So what it does is, so essentially, when you have 5%, your principal and interest is so much. Your monthly payment is so much.
Yes.
But when there is an incentive of another 5%,
okay,
now you're all of a sudden at 10%.
Okay.
Which, what it does is, one, there's a lower insurance cost. Payment is better than 5% down. And that's what they're actually comparing it to.
Okay. Now,
the monthly payment is lower. It's not a lot lower.
Sir, in fact, to tell you frankly, it is nothing. It is coming down to, I'll go through that. That's why I'm one step slightly ahead. In all these calculations that I saw, it was coming down to $150 per month. And that's it. And in the end, you were even paying more down the line.
Yes.
So how did they come up with this particular program, and how did they go through this incentive? I was not able to comprehend this. I mean, sometimes you have to wonder, okay, like the people who are sitting and coming up with these bright ideas, what are they actually trying to achieve? Or maybe we basically are missing something that we cannot even continue. Like, see, what happens is when I have to explain it to a client, and if I am struggling to understand it myself, how am I going to explain it to them? And today too, what happens here is there is one line. You are going to literally laugh at that. And this is being written by experts here. And I am still trying to get my head from the time I went through this article, trying to see, should I pick it up or not? Because see, people call you, clients call you, and they ask you, I think so the first time home buyer incentive is very good. And like in 2 minutes, how do you explain it to them that it is good or bad? And you're not convinced yourself. Okay? So remain with me today. Okay. Are you with me on this? You're finding? You must have experienced this. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. Now, let's go back ahead to this article. Okay. So we are here. It says, it lowers your mortgage carrying cost. I have found even if you use the maximum amount of $500,000, it comes down to $150 per month, making home ownership more affordable. So yes, if you are struggling with extra $150, yes, but in the end, you overpay more. And that is my calculation. And the main thing here is because the government has done it, lots of heads must have put this whole program together. So maybe I'm missing something down the line. And in the end, maybe someone can walk me through, okay, this is the point we missed it out on this. Okay, I am going to take it to the next line here. The first time home buyer incentive makes it easier for you to buy a home and lower your monthly. Okay, now let's understand this. This program is a shared equity mortgage. Okay, let's clarify this particular term here. Shared equity mortgage. Is that right, Faisal?
Yes.
That means you are basically bringing a sleeping partner in the deal.
Exactly.
So they are going to share your equity.
Exactly.
Okay. Let's so that people are clearly understanding that it is someone is going to be on board with you on this particular one. They are going to share this money with you. This means that the government shares in the upside and downside of the property value. Now, Faisal, in the market, like in the real estate market that we are in right now, do you think there is any downside?
I don't agree with that line.
Okay.
It's shares. So government's shares, and let me actually pick the line because that's where
give me one moment. I'll show you to around here. Can you see the line now?
Yeah, I can see it.
This program is a shared equity mortgage. This means that the government shares in the upside and downside of the property value. Okay.
So
downside, what do you mean by downside? In the past 10 years, the values have just gone up.
So in the past, I think many years.
15 years. We have been in business more than 15, 20, 18 years now.
It has only been going up. Yeah.
and it is going drastically up. So if they are, okay, let's say suppose this is the let's say suppose at this moment I'll just give them a benefit of doubt that they are covered the worst case scenario by this adding this word downside. Okay, let's go to the next line. It allows you to borrow 5% or 10% of the purchase price of a home. Okay, we are okay with here. Now, you pay back the same percentage of the value of the home when you sell it within 25 years. Okay, here is the interesting part here. Okay, they are giving a calculation. You receive 5% incentive on a home purchase of $200,000. So they give you $10,000 on that. Okay. Very simple. This is not complicated here. The home value increases to 300. So if now at whatever stage, now let me ask you at this particular stage, I have taken this particular $10,000 from them. In 5 years' time, the value is $300,000, but I don't want to sell, but I would like to give away the money which I've taken from the government. Can I do that?
Yes.
Okay, so that is fine. So now I have to give them $15,000, 5% of $300,000 and $15,000 back to them.
Yes.
Okay, now I have yesterday, okay, let's go back here. And again, if you want, I will be, we'll pick up an example later, but I did a calculation yesterday, okay, that if you take a mortgage, if you don't take their $10,000, you are even, your interest in the 5 years is even less than $5,000. It was actually not even $2,000. Faisal,
I think you're absolutely right.
I did the calculations. I did absolutely went one by one, and the reason here is I'm because in we are going to cover one of the examples there, and you can actually understand. So, in the end, in 5 years, I would have had paid $2,000 on that $10,000, and here to the government I'm giving $5,000. It wasn't making any sense to me. Okay, now let's go ahead and go to the second line here. Okay, you receive 10% intensive. Okay, so either you can take 5% or you can take 10%. We have understood this particular part. Okay, now the next line is this incentive is for first time home buyers. Okay, we have understood that particular part. And this is interesting that they say you take, okay, this is the worst case scenario that they have given, but I don't think so this worst case scenario actually exists. So I'm highly doubtful that someone would like to think about this particular one. Okay, like they gave you $20,000 and the value of that property went from 200 to 150 in, let's say, even 5 years' time. I have not seen a property value going down.
So I would like to comment on that part.
Sure.
That line in 2 phases.
Okay.
Number 1, property, I'm agreeing with you. Property value going down, I have not seen.
Yes.
And this is not just Canada, it's all across globe.
Okay.
Anywhere you look at it, property values don't go down.
Sure.
If they go down temporarily, they're up back very shortly. Right? And it's just the market that plays in it. Another aspect is this home buyer incentive, first time home buyer incentive, only supports property up to a certain amount.
Yes.
Okay, which is 300, 350, 400, no more. Anything more than that, first time home buyers incentive does not work. Now, these are very basic homes. These are entry level homes.
There is no property for $200,000, sir. I have so many clients. Even for 300 or 400, we are struggling.
No, what I'm trying to say is, let alone this example.
Okay.
What I'm getting at is, with first-time home buyers, even if you get all the incentive, every dollar amount, you can only buy a property up to a certain amount, which is no more than 400, 450. I don't think those numbers work anymore.
Okay.
Because the incentive is only a certain dollar amount. Now, these are very much entry-level homes. These properties, from any stretch, I don't see them going down at all, because the payment on these properties are cheaper than the rent.
Yes.
Now, $1 million home, $2 million home, different case.
Yes. That is a different ball game. Yes.
That can go, $2 million home can go 1.8
easily
in a lower market.
In a lower market, yes. And say suppose someone purchased it higher.
Yes. Okay. I've seen $2.5 million home up for sale for 2.2, 2.3.
Yes.
I've seen.
Yes.
Okay. But a 400,000 home does not become 300.
No. So
Absolutely
these
not.
for the lower end it doesn't work.
No. The lower end always holds its value, and
Yes.
it only goes up.
Yes. Okay.
Now that's my second part of this conversation, that the second where it says decrease value up to 150,000, that scenario does not exist.
That scenario does not exist. Exactly. Now, okay, there are some things here. Just as the name implies, the incentive is for first-time home buyers. You have never purchased a home before. You did not occupy in the last 4 years, and you have recently experienced breakdown of a marriage. So you can go through the details of this one, but we are trying to understand if this particular one makes any sense. Okay, let me now pick up some more detail here. Okay, let's see. Am I eligible? Okay. Now, this is again here. So, if your annual income is more than $120,000, you don't qualify.
There's a long list.
There is a long list. Now, how do you, okay, let me understand this particular part here. Is it just anything below 120? Because sometimes, like you can have 120 plus something. 120,100, will they qualify?
No.
Wow. So it is a sharp 120,000.
It's a hard stop.
It's a hard stop. Okay. So anything below $120,000, and it is 4 times your qualifying income.
Yes.
Okay. Now let's get here. Again, they want you, and you cannot put down more than 20% down.
No.
So you have, like, let's say 15%, and they are giving you another 5%, so they won't allow that.
No.
5 or 10 only will work.
Yes.
So they want you to take that home insurance there.
Yes.
Wow. So they are basic. Why would that be? I mean, what would be the reason behind this?
Because typically first-time home buyers do not have 20%.
No, I understand that particular part. Let's say, suppose for argument's sake, someone has 15%. And they're giving you 5% more. Why do they want you to take those insurance premiums?
That's a hard one.
Okay, not a problem. So let's they must have had something. The incentive is like a second mortgage on your home. Your first mortgage must be greater than 80%. So they basically they want you to take the home insurance. Okay. Yes. So now I'm going to come over to this interesting example, and I don't know who wrote this example. Okay. So you have to remain with me on this particular example, because I have not been able to understand this example completely. Okay. And they have given this particular example here. Okay. Let me take you on this particular example here. Anita wants to buy a home which is $400,000. She has 5% down, so they'll give her another under the first time, so she can go all the way up to 10% through the program, blah, blah, blah. Okay. This part is okay. This is standard. So she has $228 less a month, and as per their calculations, whatever their calculations are. Okay. Now, I want you to read this line carefully. 10 years later, Anita sells the home for $420,000. Can you imagine this? She bought the house for $400,000, and in the next 10 years, she's selling the house for 420. I want to buy that house. Faisal, I want that house, which was $400,000 10 years ago, and it is at 420 today. Who wrote this particular line? I have no idea. And on that basis, they're trying to explain it to us.
I cannot stop laughing.
I really want to. I mean, this particular author who has written this, or the person on the government who has written it, from where did he get this data? In 10 years' time, you're trying to sell that property at $420,000. Sir, that property easily could be $600,000 to $800,000 today. Properties which we bought for $320 10 years ago are selling for 800 plus. Today's market.
Yeah.
And they are now then basing their story on that particular one. This would result Anita repaying $42,000. Wow. This house will be $800,000 and she'll be paying $80,000 here.
So another flaw in that calculation is you only get 10% of the cost of new home if it is a brand new home.
I know that particular part very well picked up. I was about to come on that one, but I didn't want it to go there. Okay, like 5% on the resale ones and 10% on the new homes. So let's say, suppose even it is a new home. Okay, let's even go with that. And to tell you frankly, the newer home will go more in value.
Exactly. So, and this is what I'm about to touch on. So let's imagine the example, 400,000, you're buying it from a builder.
Yes.
Because you have to buy from a builder
yes.
when it's a new home.
Yes.
And typically you're putting down your deposit 2 years before. Okay, because builder needs about 1.5 to 2 years to actually build the house.
Sure.
So let's say you bought for 400,000 today. Okay, you signed the paper, 400,000. Here is my home. Here's my first check.
Yep.
Right? Deposit check.
Sure.
In 2 years' time, when you pick up the key,
it is already
the house is already 600,000.
It's already easily. Okay? In this today's market, it is already, you can make equity out from there.
Exactly. There are lots of people that book homes and then sell before closing.
Yes.
Okay, so, people do that.
The CRA is coming after them. That's a different issue completely.
That's a different issue, but you know, there is something called as assignment sales, and
yes.
people do it.
Yes.
Now you've seen it. I've seen it.
Yeah.
Assignment sales are always more than what the initial purchaser bought for.
Yes.
Okay. And usually it's 20, sometimes 25% markup.
True.
Easily. So when you pick up the key at the lawyer's office for your new home, the house is already 600,000.
Yes.
Which means you don't owe 40,000. Now you owe how much?
$80,000. If you're like in 10 years, it's going to be double easily.
Easy.
There is not even a doubt there. And we are telling over from the basis of the experience that we've had in the past 10 years. If I bought up, and they were, trust me, there were properties which were $300,000 10 years ago. They are selling for 800 now.
They don't exist anymore.
They don't even exist anymore. Okay, so now let me walk you through on this particular interesting fact. Okay, here they tell you, let's get some more example in a PDF. Okay, and I'm going to take you to that particular example. Give me a moment. So let me set up that slide so that I can show you that particular slide there. And this is what they have done. Okay, let's go here. Okay. Give me one moment here and I can go and pick this one up here. Okay, let me start this particular one in here. Okay, I have that slide up. Let's walk you through here, Faisal.
Yeah.
Faisal, here they have taken some examples and they have put it very well. Okay, someone did a very good job in putting it together. But the main thing here is they lost in the numbers count. Okay, and I'm going to go with you on those ones. So here they picked up the first example that annual qualifying was 400 and the maximum price was 440. So they gave one example on that one. Then they gave the Gupta's example. They picked up a property for income 110, maximum 465 purchase. And then they went for another property which was 70,000, qualifying income, purchase price was around 310. They gave that example there. And then in the end, let's come down to this particular one, which was their maximum. So the qualifying income was 118 and the maximum purchase price, they went all the way up to 542. Now, I did not understand this particular part, but let's keep it rolling on that one that they went there. Because, see, you remember, they told us that the purchase price cannot be above 480. Is that right?
Something of that sort. I can actually
4 times the income, 120 is the maximum income, 4 times the income, 480. Now, how are they coming on with this particular 542 as an example? I was not able to comprehend. But let's say suppose they included 480 plus the down payment or something of the sort.
Yes.
Maybe that is what I could figure it out. Maybe they went on with those particular calculations there. Okay, let's stick with them on the 542 number. Okay, stay with me on this particular one and I'm going to show you some of the calculations which are not making sense. Okay, so they are at 542. Someone gave them so they are comparing it with, let's say suppose you have 542 and you have your own down payment at 30,000 and they give you another $25,000. So it becomes 555,000 as your down payment, your mortgage amount. Okay, now this is the interesting part which I want the prospects to watch carefully. Okay, your purchase price is 542 minus 30,000, which is your down payment. It should be around 472, but it is not that, but it is 490 because the mortgage insurance premium has kicked in. So remember that very carefully, because this is where lots of clients get lost. Like they don't understand, why is my mortgage at 490 when I've paid $30,000 and it should have been 472. So this is where the mortgage insurance kicks in. So that is why this amount is there. Now, here the down payment is 10%, so the mortgage insurance premium is almost 1% less or something, and so it has less. So this is what they are telling you, that your mortgage amount is lower. So these calculations are all correct. There is no problem, but there should have been an explanation here that with the addition of mortgage premium insurance here. Okay. Now they come to here and they show that your mortgage insurance premium is $5,000 less. We understand that part. We just discussed that part. In the end, they tell you that your mortgage calculations are less by $152. So this is their bottom line that they have come up with. Okay. Now, I am going to show you some calculations which do not make sense. Are you with me up to this particular page? So they had done these calculations. They've also said we have done these calculations on the basis of 25-year mortgage and 3% interest rate. Okay. So we are going to do our calculation on that same basis. Now, do you want to add anything to this particular more thing? It looks pretty. I went through the calculations. This what they have explained here is absolutely correct. Apart from the fact that they should have put a note there how it became 490, because see, you have to have that calculations for the mortgage insurance premium for someone to understand where is this extra coming from. Okay, so that was my only thing on that particular one. Anything you else want to add on this?
No.
Okay, so now give me a moment here. Let me get you on a different page of a calculation. Okay, now I went to a page which is called ratehub.ca mortgage payment calculator, and I went through all these calculations. Okay, now I am going to show you these calculations side by side. Okay. Now, can you see the screen at this moment or no?
I cannot see side by side, but
you
I can
cannot see the side by side. Okay, let's see if, okay, no, you won't be able to see the side by side. Okay, let's see. Try to, let me show this again to you. Okay, and then let me show. So these are the calculations. You'll be able to see it's not bad. You can remember these two numbers, 542 and 2477. Okay, and the down payment was 30,000. Okay, now let me show you on this particular one. Here you see the price is 542, down payment was 30, and the amount came to 2477. Do you see this one?
Yes.
Okay, now give me a moment here. Okay, I am going to show you another thing that they are trying to walk us through so that you can understand. Now, I want you to do have a look at another calculation here. 542, 55,000, and it comes to 2,325. And the difference is coming to 152. Okay, I'm going to show you another calculation here. Give me a moment here. It should load. Okay, here is the calculation here. So I took 542, 55 as down payment, 2325. So both those numbers, I made sure that you understand that both those numbers are actually the correct numbers. This is what I want you to pick it up here. In the 5 years, you pay 76 or roughly $77,000 here. Are we clear on this number here?
Yeah.
So you can write this on a separate side note, 76,997. Okay?
Yeah.
And when I am not using them, then it is coming to $82,031. Okay? These are the actual calculations. Okay? Now, the difference between 82,031 and 76,997 comes to $5,034.
Yes.
Okay? Now, let's do the calculation here for $152 and multiply it by 60 months. It comes to $9,000. How is that possible? $9,120. It is almost a difference of $4,000 And
I'll tell you. 9120.
4086, $4,086.
408. Yes.
How can that happen? Okay, I don't understand that part. So where did they miss out? Because I showed you on the calculation of these interest paid. So there is something wrong that was there. Now, I'm coming back to this original table here. So basically, in 5 years' time, if you bought a property for $500,000, okay, Faisal? In 5 years' time, if you did not take the 5% from them, the difference is only $5,000 in the interest.
Yes.
This property in 500, how much do you think in today's market and in the past 4 or 5 years of our experience, how much would that value of that property will be, which was 500 in 5 years time, 5 years ago?
You know, it's an interesting question. I can find out what the average percentage it has been up for last 10 years, and I multiply it, and I will give you the number. Give me 1 second.
See, I'll go by thumb rules, which I actually see in the market. I'm talking between 700 and 750 minimum.
So I see a number of close to 7% year after year.
Okay, 7% comes to around 35,000. 35 into 5, that comes to 175. Let's round it to $200,000.
Okay. So that would be close to 700,000.
That is close to $700,000. Now, you have to give them $35,000 back, and you borrowed only 25 from them. And had you taken the interest, it was only $5,000.
Yes.
Why would I get someone involved in here when the numbers are not working? Absolutely. Here, this is from everything here. Tell me if I'm wrong. What I figured it out was that they're basically trying to act as a different bank. And to tell you frankly, the bank is even giving you a lower amounts, and you can get away with it anytime. I have not understood the purpose behind this whole particular exercise. That is what I'm coming down to. So you tell me, what has your experience been?
I wouldn't say you are not correct. But it's definitely a worst case scenario, like absolutely worst case scenario.
I would have had understood this. See, I would have had liked this program thoroughly had they come up with, like, okay, if you have zero down, we're giving you 5% to get started. It would have had made some sense. You get my point?
Yeah.
Because now that particular person is going to take, see, that is where most of the people struggle to save for 5% for the down payment for the house. So saving this $25,000 or $30,000, by the time you save $25,000 or $30,000, the price of the property has become even $100,000 higher.
Absolutely.
Yes, at that stage it would have had help. Had you come into the picture, zero down, we want you to get started, let's get you started. But otherwise, because see, if you see these numbers, they just don't make sense. And if you don't mind, and if you ever come across, I want you to check the data and stats on this one. I mean, how well was this particular program picked up or not?
So it's really hard to qualify. clients.
Really, there are hardly any properties for 500 anyway. And in case if he would have $25,000, he would qualify. Now, let me ask you, if I'm missing this particular point, are they giving you any benefit regarding the credit score?
No.
Even at that stage, it would have made sense. You get my point? See, you get qualified 600, 650 and above. Now, let's say suppose your score was 400 or even 500 and you had 5% and you now take help from them, and so that in that period of time you can repair your credit, it would have made sense. Are we on the same page here or not?
Absolutely. Because
Otherwise,
that's what the rent to own program is.
Yes, that's where I am coming down to. So basically, they have come up with this one, and I am really struggling to find a very to sell this particular product to anyone. It doesn't have a bite. Have I overspoken?
It's hard. No.
But I went through it and I said, okay, what is happening here? Because a few other times people had asked me, because initially I had gone through it one and I said it's not making sense. And I had left it at that stage. I said, let me revisit the whole program and see if it is still making any sense right now. And now if I'm doing more calculations, it is absolutely not doing any sense here. You'll be better off, and the difference is only, see, on their maximum amount, the difference is only $150, which is not huge. Had it been $400-500, yes, it could have made a sense there too. You get my point? $400-500 per month is a huge difference. Yes, that can actually make some sense. $150 difference on their maximum number. It's not making sense. Okay, I think so. You, why don't you have some say on it before I change to our next round of discussion?
Those maximum numbers do not happen. So the reality is 150. The difference is very little. I think if I was to take a good guess, it'd be under $100 difference.
Yes. And even with the calculations on the interest rates that I went through the whole thing, it wasn't making any sense to me at all. It wasn't making something. And sometimes okay, maybe I am completely wrong about it or not, but I think so. See, real estate is a very good engine for the economy of the country. Because, see, we have good immigration apart from COVID. Otherwise, we had a very good immigration here. Real estate is a very good industry. You will have tradespeople. You have it is a burning, it can get you in a very good economy for the country. So someone should look carefully and come up with an answer on this particular one, because otherwise it is not making any sense at all. Okay, Faisal, I am having, yes. Now, I'm going to touch you. How are you on time-wise? Give me an idea.
I'm okay with time.
You're okay with time-wise, okay. Now, let me pick up this particular article where you will be.
Hot tub removed.
Yes. Okay, I'm going to take you to this particular article. This happened in Oshawa. And the title was, Where Did It Go? In Oshawa, home buyers were shocked after a hot tub was removed before closing. Okay. It's being picked up by Mr. Pat Foran of CTV News Toronto. Okay, and it's was updated on 15th of October. So a very recent article here. I'm going to pick up some of the stuff here and see if it makes any sense. So someone picked up a property and they were looking for a house with a deck, gazebo, and hot tub. Okay, and they were already in place. So they bought this particular property in April of this year.
Mhm.
But when they went back, both the gazebo and the hot tub, they were missing. Okay, they had I would really very happy when they write this particular one. We did our final walkthrough 7 days before closing, both the gazebo and the hot tub. So this is something which I've always suggested to my clients, that yes, do a walkthrough before closing. It's a must. They found that the gazebo and hot tub were both gone. Do you want to say anything at this stage?
I remember. So this brings me back to our first offer, first home.
Okay.
And I remember you handwriting drapes, chattels,
Okay.
light fixtures. And of course, at that time, I was naive. I didn't fully know. And I'm scratching my head. Why is this fellow writing light fixtures? Who is going to take an existing light fixture?
Mm-hmm.
Right? There's a light fixture on the ceiling.
Yes.
Who's going to take that?
Yes.
Okay, drapes. They're made for this window.
Mm-hmm.
Who is going to take that?
Mm-hmm.
Chattels. I didn't even fully understand that word at the time.
Mm-hmm.
So it brings me back right to that time when I was scratching my head as to why are you writing that? And it was handwritten. It was, the offer was all typed out, but then you had handwritten plus and then initial there. That's this case.
Absolutely. There are a couple of things I want to highlight in this particular one. Things that, some of the things that they did good, and that should be done. That is the reason I picked up this article, just to give you a basic idea. So they had this particular information on the listing. Now, I'll explain you something else on the one. And in case if you're listening and you're working with someone, I always even attach a copy of that listing to the offer. You get my point? I'll explain you why. See, I can go and correct my listing at any stage. You get my point?
Yeah.
Now, when I have, on the date I'm putting the offer, I have the copy of the listing, so someone cannot later tell me, no, I mean, we had removed it that time. Sir, they are all initial there. So attach a copy of the listing to the offer just to make sure that you are covering some things here. And now, the best thing that they did was, 1 week or 2 days or 3 days before the offer, they went and revisited the property and checked out everything. Absolutely a must. The third thing which they missed, and which I make sure that the clients understand, sir, this is a contract. There are nothing going on verbally here. You may think something in your head like that is there, and they may remove it. If it is written there, it is supposed to, now you have a plan of action if they don't leave it behind. They have also initialed it. You have initialed it. We are all on the same page. And this is what happens when you don't write it down. Okay, so then what they did actually was, let's go to the next line here. So they, and this is another thing that has to be also explained. We walked around, so they went missing. But they still closed the property. Very, very good. If it is not a big amount, if it is not a huge disputed amount, close the property and then go for suing the property. Because now if you don't close the property, that can get you into more trouble. Now you are in breach of the contract. So they closed the property and then they went after them. Okay. Interesting part here I'm going to walk you through. Okay. Very interesting lines. And this is how you have to understand how things go. They said they were told that the hot tub and gazebo were removed because they were old and had no value. How do you explain that?
I'm not sure where that came from. Gazebo and hot tub. Functioning or not, as long as gazebo is standing, it has value.
Sir,
as long as the hot tub is there, it has value.
Absolutely. The main thing to understand here is, see, we all look the same thing from different angles. They're saying we bought this house because there was a gazebo and hot tub. And you say you removed it because there's no value in it.
Well, if there is no value, why would you even spend your time to remove a value that is not, remove an item that has no value?
Again, very interesting and valid point. So this is what you have.
Why would I spend, let's just say they did it themselves. Okay, the home sellers did it themselves.
Sure.
Why would somebody spend, it would take at least 1 day to remove a gazebo, minimum.
Absolutely.
It would take hours to remove a hot tub.
And the plumbing.
And the plumbing. And you need professionals to move the hot tub because it's a big thing.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, gazebo, you can take the pieces out and
disassemble,
deassemble and stuff. So if there is no value to both of those items, if I'm spending time, my time is also not valuable. Would you agree?
You have taken it to a different dimensions. Absolutely correct. So this is the main thing here is, now they went through again. They sued. They bought this similar format for around 8,000. They went to RICO, and then in the end they were helped by CTV News. So it became an unnecessary hassle. When the moral of the story is, make sure that you get the chattels written in the contract. And if you think this is of importance to you, make sure you get it in writing. Don't leave it for chance. Anything small, anything, and I make that particular point to my clients. Sir, if it is not written, if it is not there, we both, you'll be shouting at me unnecessarily. Doesn't make sense. When I've already done the hard work, why don't, whatever it is, let's write it down on the starting day. Everyone is in a nice, wants to get everything done properly. In the end, 2 months down the line, you don't know what exactly is going on. And you sometimes even don't remember what was said. You said this, I said this, and now this has happened, blah, blah, blah. So for chattels and things like that, please make sure you write it down. And second thing is, within last few days or within a week before closing, please go and see the particular property. It's an important one. Now, what do you have to take on that? And before I start the main thing on the rent-to-own homes scams, on the main topic of the evening.
Sir, I would have a field day with that article, but our time is limited. We should stick to our agenda.
Stick to our agenda. Perfectly. Very well said. Okay.
I would make our audience laugh like no tomorrow. We would start picking up every corner.
Very well said. Okay, Faisal, I'm going to take them to the article of the day,
Mhm.
and if you can stick around, that'll be great.
I
So
will.
now, uh, our article of the day is "Are rent-to-own homes scams?" Okay, so let's go, and so this is the topic of that we are trying to cover for tonight. And just to share with you, I had covered this similar kind long time ago, but the title was different, so I had to revisit the on explaining this to because sometimes people do ask you in simple terms. I mean, are these rent-to-own home scams? They ask you in plain easy language that just can you explain us like if this is a scam or something. And now let me walk you through here. No, in simple terms, this is not a scam. So let me get out of the framework and walk you through here that no, the short answer is rent to own homes are not scams. Let me see if I can. Give me one moment here. If I can remove myself for a moment. Give me one here, not myself. And let's see here. If I can get my picture off so that you can have a look at. Yes. So the short answer is no. Rent to own homes are not scams. And the long answer is be very, very prudent. So I am going to explain you this particular one and walk you through what exactly have you to be prudent about. Okay, so now, Faisal, do you think this makes sense? Short and the long answer before I go into the detail of this particular one.
Absolutely. They're not scams, but you definitely have to be careful and prudent every step of the way.
It is absolutely similar to buying. Like, see, don't get into a property which you can be scammed. Rent to own is a earlier version of buying. If by chance you're not able to procure a mortgage and you're fixing your credit, and in that period of time you want to go and do rent to own homes, you can do that. But I have to I have to walk you through, and I'm going to walk them through 10 steps that they have to be very careful so that they don't get scammed. Okay,
Absolutely.
so let's highlight them there, and let's take them to the next uh, one on this particular one. Okay, so these are the 10 things which are scams and deceptions, which generally can occur if you are not prudent. So, title, info, listing, rental, lease, deposits, check, contracts, common scams, property scams, and then the greed scams. So, I'm going to go one by one and walk you through here. So, the first one is rent to own homes, the title scam. Okay, so let's walk you through and what you have to be careful about in the title of the property. Try to see that the scammers may be selling your property which they are not on the title. Faisal, you want to have any take on this one?
Yeah, and this happens not just rent to own, but typical selling as well, where the seller is not really actually the seller. They just have enough information about the seller where they pretend to be a seller, but they don't own the property to sell.
Absolutely. Now, let me clarify them again on this particular one. What I am trying to explain you here is, let's say suppose you are in negotiation with someone for particular property. Make sure you have a lawyer on your side, and before you sign the documents, just make sure that you are signing the documents with a person who is actually the owner of the property. And that is where you do not get into a title scam. So this is in easy terminology. Make sure that you are trying to buy a property from a person who is on the title of that particular property. Where it is, like sometimes any person, it can even happen in a family. My brother owns the property. I'm selling it for him. No. Faisal,
Yeah,
am I right on that particular one?
absolutely. Happens.
People can come. Even if someone has a power of attorney,
The brother
or
doesn't know.
the brother even may not know. He may
The
have
brother
given you.
may the brother may not even be in the country.
Second thing, hold on here. It can be an interesting part here. Husband and wife. Wife is not there. They may have separated, but she's still on the title.
Absolutely.
You can't
Huge.
sell that property without her sign. And she may not be even aware. Make sure you are with those people who are on the title of the property. It's a very small thing, but because see, you are doing rent to own contracts, and sometimes you may not involve a lawyer into it.
Yeah.
That is where it is very prudent to make sure that you address the first part, which is the title of the property. Okay, let's head over to the next one. The second one is personal info scam. Let's explain you something here. Now, you're trying to do a rent to own. Never wire any money. Scammers may seek your personal info, SIN number, credit card info, etc. for misusing it later. Do I make sense here?
Absolutely.
This is what happens here. Let me explain it to you so that what these people do is this is the property, and someone may have given them a call on like trying to see, I am wanting to buy this, do it as a rent to own. Okay, sir, I'm going to send you an application. Fill that out. So let me qualify you on that one. And they may seek your SIN number. They may seek your credit card info and your personal info, and they can misuse it. So do not give them all that personal info before it is completely finalized. Or am I making sense here?
Absolutely.
This can easily happen because see, by the time you understand the whole rent to own program and things like that, until and unless, like see, when you are giving that information to a real estate agent, or you're giving to a lawyer, or you're giving to a mortgage broker, these are licensed professionals. You can go after them. But a person who randomly you're providing those particular information, it is, make sure when you are sharing your personal info, how and to whom you are giving that information. You have to be very careful there. So it is a personal info scam. So make sure that you do not give your info to everyone there. You are in mortgage industry. You are very careful with those things. So highlight what else have I missed on anything on here?
No, a personal info scam can damage more than just one. Can make I guess you can be at a loss at more than one place if this happens to you.
Yes, they can take your information and misuse it.
Oh, a lot, and then it's extremely difficult to get through.
Absolutely, yes. Okay, now let's head over to the third point. Okay, listing scam. This is this is an extremely important one that has to be understood. Scammers may copy someone's full listing and may offer you at a very low, attractive price. This you must have seen happening very, very commonly. A property is listed, and a scammer may say, I'm the owner of this particular one, and they may have their ads on it. And then seek your information and things like that. And they may be saying, okay, you're not coming through an agent, I may give you some discount. These are the things which are happening in the market. So listing scam. When you go through a listing, make sure who is it. If the listing agent is written on that one, or the brokerage has written that particular one, or you're talking to someone, are you corresponding with? You have to make sure that the listing is genuine. Do not be be taken over by a listing scam. And this happens very commonly in the market. You will see so many listings. Faisal, you must be aware of this particular one.
Yeah.
So many listings. People are advertising even for rental, though they may not be even for lease. Because see, when we as real estate agents list these particular properties, we have most of the information there. They copy and paste, make ads, and then they scam. So whenever you are acting on these working on a particular listing, make sure who is the listing agent, who is it the brokerage with. Pick up the phone call a few ones, and check it out at 2-3 different places. These days, even with the address, you can get different places and different agents. Because see, we share listings in our database from boards and things like that. So the main thing here is, but the main thing here is you call a few of them, ask them. If you get across a real estate agent, he'll be able to tell you right away there and then what is the MLS number, who is the listing agent, so that you're talking to the right people there. So don't get involved in a listing scam and someone taking advantage of you. Okay, let's head over to the fourth point, which is the rental scam. I think so I just covered it, but scammers may pick up a short-term rental property and show you as their own. What do you have to say on that particular one, Faisal?
Sir, I've had a close friend where this has happened.
It is we think we know everything, but sometimes something happens within that period of time. Our brain stops working and we get into this one. See, they may advertise on a different platform. They may have taken that property on a short-term rental. They'll show you the property because they are in the property themselves. And then they will say, okay, I can, and that is where all of those other things will come into play. The title, the listing, and the person whom you are talking to. You need to do a thorough check. If you don't do thorough check, yes, it can become a scam. Otherwise, rent to own homes is not, as if you have the right contract, it's not a scam.
No.
Okay, so that is very important. That makes sure that person may not be occupying that property for a short period of time, and he may be taking advantage of you. Let's head over to the number 5th, lease scam. Again, it is the same thing. Scammers will try to get you to agree to leasing the property without signing any rental application or lease documents. Can you figure this out? Can you understand this particular part?
Yeah. A lot. There's so much to say.
Yes.
Scammers most times have And I've learned this over the time because I've walked through that
Mhm.
in you know they have a particular type of persona.
They talk they are like master of talk.
Yeah.
Their tongue is glib.
In fact, I do remember someone getting me invested in building townhome scam.
Okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And
I mean, even I've come across. I had once. You remember? I had gone somewhere, and
oh yeah,
it was so perfect. It took me 2 days to understand the whole thing, and I immediately started walking backward.
yeah,
Took me 48 hours. From right. See, you get the idea that there's something red flag there, red flag there, red flag there, but somehow the entire setup, like you tend to the setup is such that you fall into a complete trap.
yeah.
It happens. This is what they do generally, and that is what has to be understood. They'll tell you, no, 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 you don't need to sign any rental agreement, rental application, lease document. Come in. Verbal is everything. Verbal doesn't make sense. This is a big contract. You have so many things to understand. You have a rental contract. You have the lease option to purchase contract. You have other documents. You have to make sure that you have to qualify for the proposed future price. There is so many things to go around. You cannot just get into a property and without signing even a lease agreement and think you have done a rent to own property. So make sure that you are not getting anywhere without rental application, lease documents, option to purchase documents, other documents. Your lawyer is there. And if you have a real estate on board, if you have a mortgage broker on board, that is when you are covered. Otherwise, you are getting into a lease scam or some other kind of a scam which you have no clue about. And you will lose your initial deposit and you will lose. See, they will ask you for the rental amount plus for the future deposit. You will lose all of them if you do not follow it properly. Okay, let's head over to the number 6. Deposit scam. Scammers will tell you that the property is in high demand. Immediately pay a deposit in order to reserve it. Faisal,
Yeah.
have you seen this high sale pitches? High sale pitch. See, if
Absolutely.
you don't come right now, I have someone who's waiting. It'll be gone. And you do not look here and there. You do not do anything else. You fall into the trap right there and then.
I had that situation today.
Today, wow.
Not exactly scam. I mean, it is kind of a scam, but
Okay.
essentially, long and the short of it, the person tried to say, and I got really, I was so unhappy, and I said, I'm gonna hang up the call now before I get angry.
Okay.
And I hung up the call. And the person says, so first of all, they're charging me a fee, a small fee, not much, but it's about $300, $300 to $400. It's $20 a day, so it comes up to $600 a month.
Mm-hmm.
And they're doing something digital.
Okay.
Okay, on the website and such. So after, and I told them that I need to try your services for 2-3 weeks, for a week actually, and I'll let you know how it goes. No contract. Like I signed the contract, but I said month to month. I can cancel anytime I want. A week goes by. I got a little bit busy. Things are just not progressing. No result. No nothing. I set up a call with them and I told them, can you please pause your work? I
Okay.
emailed them, but they still continue charging me.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Today I got on the phone with the person,
Mm-hmm.
and he says, well, I have other business owners that are paying 40,000 a month,
Mm-hmm.
okay, for my services,
Okay.
and you're just a small business.
Okay.
And I said, well, if you get 40,000 from other customer a month,
Mm-hmm.
why do you need my $600?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Agreed?
Sure.
You're making 40,000 a month from somewhere else.
You,
Why do you
I
need
don't
my
think so. You'll
600?
have time enough to do anything else.
Yes. I said, thank you very much, but I'm gonna hang up. I don't need your service. I
Yes.
need it. I need you to pause. That's what I said. Just
Mm.
pause for now. Oh, this story, that story. And I got upset and I said, the contract says this, cancel it, send me the invoice, we're done. It's just
It's a
people
high pitch sale.
Exactly.
It's a high pitch sale. And whenever you're trying, this is not, remember something here, guys. This is not a 1-day contract that you can get into. Or immediately, if you have to pay a deposit, now your deposit is lost on that particular day. They will come up with stories. Now, by the time you take them to the court and try to settle, the lawyer fees will be more than the deposit. So make sure.
Absolutely.
So make sure that you do not get into a high pitched sale there, and you have to make a deposit here. Otherwise, someone else will take it. Someone else takes it. Let's take it. I'll take the next one. But I do need to do my due diligence. Otherwise, your deposit will be lost. So make sure that scam is covered whenever you are trying to buy a rent-to-own home property. Okay, number 7, background check scam. Okay, scammers will ask you for an exorbitant amount of funds to do your background check for preparing requisite paperwork. Remember, this is again, they want, like, we are going to prepare all these paperwork. You need to do an initial deposit and blah, 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 blah. Half of that work you can do it yourself. And if you have a real estate agent to take care of you, because see, the reason is when you're trying to buy a property, you most of the 90% of the time you do not pay the real estate agent. They are getting paid by the sellers.
Most times. Almost every time.
So some cases are there when you have something different, but you can say most of the time, yes. And why not use them? Use them. They will do your everything. They will put it together. You have a licensed professional with you. You at least have a recourse with someone whom you have no idea who they are, and they may be charging you money for doing your background check, preparing requisite paperwork, when it is all can be done for free. Do not get into this particular one. So make sure that is covered. Number 8, contract scam. Scammers may have very strict contract penalties if the tenant buyer defaults or misses a payment. Faisal, can you comprehend this one? Okay, let's explain it to you. And because this has happened, someone was in some other different rent-to-own contract, and in the end, when she was about the term of her contract was expiring, he came up with all those nonsense in those contracts. Because in the end, see, when you even, like, let's say suppose you went through the whole thing, make sure you understand each and every clause in this particular one. You have spent 2 or 3 years, your deposit is at stake, your down payment for per month is at stake, and in 2 or 3 years time, the value of the property has increased like drastically. All those factors are there. Make sure this contract is certain that it can, that it is not so harsh on you that you cannot fulfill that contract. There should be something like, okay, if this happens, if I'm by that time my credit is not fixed, I'm not able to procure a mortgage, or something happens to my income, or something else happens in life, how do we handle this? They should not be able to walk away with all your deposit and all the down payment that you have done on a per month basis, and you've also lost time and value of the property there. So that is what is a contract scam. So make sure that is covered completely. What do you have to say on that, Faisal?
Sir, on top of this, on top of everything you've said, it's extremely difficult for clients to walk away from it. Because in their mind, that is their home.
Yes.
Their children are settled.
Everyone. That's what they overpaid for.
The emotional heartache is just as much as your financial heartache.
Absolutely.
If not more.
Yes.
So, yeah, these contracts are like, you have to be very careful and diligent about it.
Absolutely. You have to
Step
make
by
sure
step.
you understand the language in the contract. You have a professional lawyer with you. I would say never start without these three people: the mortgage broker, the real estate agent, and the lawyer, home inspector, and so and an appraisal. If you have to spend some money on those 2-3 things there, make sure you do that, and make sure you are completely covered. It should not be a contract scam at the end of the exercise. Okay. Number 9. Property scam. Okay, let's walk you through on this one. Scammers may not shed any light on the potential property issues and health hazards with the house.
Yeah.
You have to do a due home inspection diligence right on day one, even before you get into the property.
Absolutely.
Because see, there will be contracts which will be saying maintenance is all yours. We are selling you this property as is. Now, let's suppose in 3, 4, 5 years time, you find you require another $30,000 or $40,000 to fix the property, and you are in the 3rd year or 4th year. You cannot walk out, and you cannot remain in.
Yeah.
Make sure those things are covered there. You have any property issues, health hazards, and it has to be thoroughly checked out. Home inspector has to be in the picture there.
Absolutely.
Am I covering them properly?
Absolutely.
Okay. Last one. Number 10. Greed scam. Okay. Faisal, I think so. I missed one back. Let me go back. Okay. Greed scam. Faisal, what do you make out of this? Scammers, landlord / seller may not close the deal due to greed if the property appreciates tremendously.
Which is normal, and we've seen it.
I have seen someone, you remember one, because someone had called me. They were in some other, with someone else for a rent to own contract, and they called me and they said, we have the mortgage. We have paid him for the 5 years. The property value has gone double. He's not closing the property.
Yeah.
And he just wouldn't. There was nothing that you could do except to take him to courts. But he wanted them out of the property. And somehow they had to leave the property. So make sure, see, that the reason is, let's suppose you buy a property for $500,000, and in 5 years' time, you have to pick up the property for $600,000. Now, suddenly in those 5 years' time, the property is now 700 or even 750. He's not letting it go. What do you do? So make sure you have these things in place there. He cannot throw you out. The lawyers have made adequate provision that whatever no value is, they have those particular clauses which absolutely cover you on for a greed scam. What do you have to add to this, Faisal?
Sir, greed is one of the biggest problem we have. Sellers want more money, buyers want less, just like that. This greed, the rent to own investors can get greedy quite a bit if you don't have contracts in place properly.
Okay.
And
Absolutely.
we've seen, like, this is not something that anyone is making up. We've seen contracts and we've seen things where people are just stuck so bad that you cannot even help them.
No.
They're just, the entire greed scam is programmed and planned and done in such a way that the person getting into that scam is just stuck from every angle.
Absolutely. Okay, now, Faisal, that brings us to the end of this one. And ladies and gentlemen, this is our Rent to Own Homes program. And that is the reason we walk you through all the nuances of this particular program. And that's why we call it a smart Rent to Own Homes program. And that is why we have made this program smart for you all. So this brings us to the conclusion for the day. We were supposed to be 1 hour. We are at 1.5 hours here. So now you want to add any last points, and then I will then just update them and walk them through the websites, and then we are good to go.
All I have to say is half an hour of more information. Valuable,
very well put
information.
Wonderful. Appreciate that, sir. Okay, now let me as soon as these particular websites are up, they are slightly taking time to load, and if you have to share anything in the meantime. Okay, at this moment, ladies and gentlemen, we are up with all our agendas of the day, and so let me walk you through some of the websites where you can reach him directly. His website is called faisalgarcia.com, so you can visit him there, and he's a mortgage expert with Dominion Lending. And you want to add something here, Faisal?
No, that's a website with lots of information, lots and lots of information. Don't get lost into it. There's lots of information, but if anything, you're welcome to call, and I can direct you further.
Okay, and also I'm now showing you his second website, which is creditrepairnow.ca, and I strongly recommend you to go to this particular one for any rhyme or reason. If you're struggling with your credit, he's an expert, and I fully vouch for him on that one. He's doing remarkable stuff and getting your credits up in no time. What do you have to add to that, Faisal?
We've done lots of wonders, and we keep doing them. So as long as a client wants their credit fixed, we can do them step by step.
Okay, now I am going to take them over to one of my websites where as soon as it loads up, yes. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, this is one of my websites where you must have registered for the webinar. It is called manojatri.com webinar, where you can come, register, pick up the free ebook, and then these are some of the other information that we have: power of sale properties, zero down with a cashback program, rent to own homes, And if you have to evaluate your house for both buying and selling at the same time, we can do wonders. We have investors who can buy your properties, so feel free to be in touch with them on those particular ones. And then I will add this particular web page, which is called MA in Real Estate. Again, you can see all those information in your emails and in the description boxes. And this is a newsletter where I curate 8 or 10 articles on a daily basis with real estate going on here in the Toronto GTA area, and email it to you. You can come here, subscribe yourself, and take it from there. And these are some of the other websites I have and my social media pages. And with that, it brings us to the end of the day today. Really appreciate your time and efforts here, Faisal. And you have to add anything, and then we will conclude it for tonight.
No, thank you very much for providing all this information. I've always advocated where the information is there, it's everywhere. However, what information, translating that and how that information is useful to you as a buyer or a seller, it all comes through that MA in real estate page. Lots of good articles. I'm subscribed on that newsletter. 8 to 10 good articles from all over the place, all different medias. And the information that you've shared, thank you very much. It's extremely useful. And all those 10 scams, if you can stay away from them, you are not just you're essentially, I look at it that you're saving money for yourself if you can stay away from all those scams.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Faisal. And we guys will be here on the following Monday. That would be the 2nd of November, 7 to 8 p.m. That's what we tried for. And we will see you then. And thank you, audience. Thank you, Faisal. Thank you, everyone. And we will see you again in 2 weeks' time. Good night.
Thank you again.
Thank you.
Thank you, audience.
Bye forever.
Bye-bye.